Hello, everybody, and welcome to the LFC Transfer Room livestream with myself, Mihai, and Matty. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this Friday evening for a bit of a special live stream compared to what we would normally do. This week, we're just going to have a quick look at some FPL that we've all been getting into. So, at the start of the season, we all went in and joined an FPL league amongst us and the contributors, guests, and hosts alike. And it's been a bit of a topsy-turvy sort of a run from everybody being part of it and everybody bantering each other. It's been great fun, but it is one of them, and Maddie's back. Here we go. Perfect. It's been one of them that has been really interesting to watch throughout the whole season, and just see everybody's strategies and how everything has changed and how we've kind of gone different avenues with chip strategies and whatnot. It's been really interesting to watch. Currently, as it stands in the league standings at the moment, Mihai is in first on, if you give me 1 minute, I'll actually get up the exact figures here. Mihai is first on 2,156 points. Charlie, who can't join us this evening, unfortunately, is on in second on 2,113 points. Maddie is then in third after a bit of a lackluster week with his double game week. With 2,089 points, and I'm bringing up the rear in fourth with 2,054 points. Now, it needs to be discussed as well before Charlie starts jumping on or saying anything about my progress and my points totals. There was a point in the season where I was 150 points ahead, so take that with whatever information you want. However, there have been blunders, there have been genius strokes, there have been absolutely masterful bottlings and players dropping massive eggs. Nobody is looking at Mohamed Salah in particular, especially considering everybody. I think 96% of people in the top 1,000 captained him for the double game week, and he puts up a 6-pointer. So that'll just tell you how much anybody really knows about it. But what we're going to get into today is we're going to get into some possible transfer plans for this weekend, what we think will happen, run over a couple of the fixtures, run through maybe some team previews, and we'll discuss some predicted points for everything going forward. With 2 double game weeks coming up with Chelsea and Spurs as well. And Chelsea have Spurs have basically nearly 2 back-to-backs. They have a double game week, a single game week, and then a double game week. Chelsea are currently on a double game week this week, and also with injury news with the likes of Gusto, who's currently going to be missing a game probably, along with Haaland, who still hasn't trained yet and maybe a doubt for the weekend following their fucking 4-0 trouncing, 5-0 trouncing of Brighton, with Foden getting a brace. But we'll start at the top, I suppose, Mihai, and we'll start with yourself. Currently, so far, you've just used your free hit last week. I haven't. The only thing I have left is my bench boost. What's for the last 4 game weeks essentially? What's your strategy that you'd be at least willing to share? Because at this point, you're 100 points ahead of me, so I doubt the fuck I can catch up with you at this point. I think I'm settling for top 4 at this point, bit like Liverpool. So give me a rundown of what your strategy is for the next couple of weeks, who you may intend to target and why.
So yeah, I think for me, I've always been the type of manager who doesn't really care about taking hits as long as they're warranted. So there's these managers that say you're taking hits and that just allows people to catch up with you, but then you have to look at it the other way. I think is hits usually allow you to go ahead of the pack, ahead of those who are unwilling to do so. So for me, probably in the last 4 weeks, that's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna probably take a hit pretty much every week now, because there's still another 2 doubles to attack in 35 and 37. I still have Udogi in my team, which apparently is out for the season, and he had 2 doubles, so I thought I was settled with him, but apparently not. So that kind of just cements that point that I have to take hits now in order to try and attack what's left of the season. Yeah, I think first of all, the only thing that I want to say in terms of being at a top and 100 points difference and something like that, at the end of the day, it's really about luck. I think free hit 29 was not a bad decision by any means, but I decided to take another route, and it turned out to be better. But obviously, hindsight, you can't really know. So
Yeah.
that's why I wildcarded in 28, and then I kind of just had my team ready for the run-in. And the idea was to get my team ready for a bench boost in 37. But now I'm gonna play it because there's not really any other week in which to play it in. But now Udogi is out. Holland is still in my team, and he's a doubt. Hopefully, he'll be fine for 37. Um, um, who's that? Tony is still in my team, and he's also a doubt. So yeah, I'm gonna have to take care of a lot of problems ahead of this weekend and the next. But yeah, I'm not gonna. Hopefully, that's not gonna allow anyone to catch up.
No, yeah, but like, see, the thing about it is, and the way I look at it, especially with double game weeks, if you're taking a hit from a single game week player to a double game week player, it doesn't, in my head, it doesn't count as a -4, it counts as a -2, purely because you're going from a single to a double game week. Immediately, if they blank in both games and they're a midfielder, you're getting your points back immediately, and it was almost as if it was worth it. But yeah, the chip strategy is going to be interesting for the rest of the season. I'm probably going to be in the same boat and maybe doing 2 transfers a week between now and the end of the season. So that'll be -12 between now and the end of the season. I've done my transfers already for this week, and I've them locked in. Predicted points for myself is in the region of about, let me track here, what do I have? If all goes well, I could be on the 80 to 90 mark with predicted points with this week, just with how I've managed to get some double game week players in. So it's not the worst thing in the world. Matty, bit of a botch of a game week last week for yourself. Seen you drop out of second place. What's your strategy running in? Because you have a gaggle of injuries that you need to get out. Connor Bradley's still in your team, and you have a number of others that have kind of shafted you. Estepinen as well is in your team, and he kind of needs to go too. What's your strategy for the next couple of weeks, and how do you see yourself going forward?
Just follow the same strategy I've had all season, and just basically log on a Friday and wing it. I've used all my chips. I used free hit game week 7, bench boost game week 22, and triple captain game week 25. I just usually a fantasy footy I give up by Christmas. But this year I've been a bit more interested because I'm in a massive money league, and I've pretty much won that. I'm 200 points clear. So I'm not really bothered because I feel like my highs he's ran away with the transfer room one. So I'm not as bothered now. Like I feel like I might, but when I checked it the other week, it was after the European games, weren't it? When like Bradley got injured, Alex Moreno got injured.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, so I've took Bradley out this week for Digne. I know they've got Chelsea at home, but Villa need to win for their top 4 charge, and he's being pivotal for them. So I've made that decision. I've actually benched Haaland this week, which I feel like he won't play. It's only Nottingham Forest. I feel like City will do that without him rather than risking him.
Yeah.
To be fair, so yeah, I could probably do with taking a few hits. I think what saved me this year is I've had Palmer and Foden in pretty much the whole season, and they've both had unbelievable years. And I think it took a lot of people till about game week 20 to realise that both of them were probably better than having Haaland. I still can't get rid of Haaland. I know you got rid of him weeks ago. I still can't bring myself to do that because there's just no one decent enough. But it just feels like Everton's against me the last few weeks. Like I took Semenyo out for Solanke, and then Semenyo scored and Solanke didn't. So yeah, I'm just winging it. See what happens. I just go on. I've literally went on before and done it when I was looking for a suit. So yeah, at the minute they're all playing. The only one with a doubt, Eze, but I expect them to play. To be fair, I think.
Yeah, he's down as a doubt, but that's what Palace came out and said, that he's down as a doubt. I reckon he'll play as well myself. I have him in as well. Just looking at your squad there from last week, you had Estepinen is injured, Eze's on a yellow, Haaland's on a yellow, Moreno's on a red, and Bradley's on a red. And Son and Palmer didn't end up playing at all. Son didn't play at all, and Palmer just blanked. He was sick. Cold Palmer got a cold apparently, and he couldn't play. But
it's interesting your philosophy about taking the hits though, because I've always been like I haven't took a single minus point all season, and it seems to have worked. But I could probably do with taking Moreno and Espen shooting out for maybe a double game week, maybe like a Chelsea defender, like a Gusto or something, or
Gusto's 25% likely to play.
oh,
He's basically out, so don't bother
or
with
even
him.
like take Moreno out mainly for Romero from Tottenham. I feel like that might be a shout.
Poro is back and healthy, so he'd be a good shout to go for if you were to go for somebody. But see, the thing about it is, then when you look at the double game week fixtures, so there's two teams double game week in this week, and that's Chelsea and Spurs. And Chelsea play Villa and Spurs play Arsenal and Chelsea. They're abysmal games to be playing, especially for Chelsea, who, depending on the team that turns up, could concede 4 and score nothing. And Spurs could be very easily the same. So out of those two, you'd wonder who's going to be the ones to target. Palmer is obviously one you'd target. Son has been really poor lately and hasn't really lived up to the hype, but now he's gotten a massive amount of rest, and you'd wonder maybe that might spur him on a little bit. They're in a top 4 race with Aston Villa currently at the moment. I don't see them getting anywhere near third where we are at the moment in the league, but there's still a top 4 spot on, and as you mentioned, Villa need to win that to confirm their top 4 status. So
and I think that's why his son might play well, though, Stephen, because England aren't going to get that 5th space now. So Tottenham need to get 4th. So I feel like Ange was maybe playing, hoping that they'd get that 5th spot for the Champions League, where that's went out the window now. So it's a bit more pressure to get. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think if Tottenham finish 5th this year and they get Europa League qualification, I think Ange has had a fantastic first season, to be fair.
I think so as well, yeah. I think especially considering the injuries that they've had. Udogi's now out for the season. What a time for him to go out too. And he's going to miss the Euros as well. My squad, the way that I have it set up, I've made 3 transfers, so I've taken a -8. But the 3 transfers that I've made are for single week game players to double week game players. So I've gone Petrovic in goal, Gabriel Saliba in the back, 8 Nouri and 8 Nouri as well on the back, and then my midfield is Eze, Foden, Son, Palmer, Olise, and then Solanke and Mateta up front. As you were saying, there's no other real sort of person to go for up front at the moment, but you'd be hilarious to hear that Mateta in 2024 so far is the only striker to have 7 goals. Haaland and Núñez behind him on 6. So if you were
always he on my team, still backing him.
Yeah, no, it's Haaland is still in the team. I've Núñez still in my team. I've kicked Salah out of it. Salah can go take a long walk off a short pier, to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah, it's an interesting one because Salah, Palmer's predicted to be about 9.7 points this week. Son is about 9.8. Hilariously, considering he's playing Arsenal and Chelsea, but maybe they do something. I don't know. In his second double game week against Burnley and Man City, that's why I think Spurs would be good to target, because they have Burnley and Man City then in the second game week, and Man City could be playing for a title at that point, so they'd need to be on their game. But Burnley, he scores 2 goals there, and you're set. Like all that's you sorted. And especially even with Palmer this week, he scores 1 against Villa and 1 against Spurs, or even 2 against Spurs, and you've him captained. You're laughing. You just need him to hit in one of the 2 games, which is brilliant. But I've used Everton other than a bench boost at the moment. Have you've used Everton other than a bench boost, Matty, as well, have you? Or have you used a bench boost?
I used Everton by game week 25.
Do you not have a second wildcard, or have you used that already as well?
I used that on week 1 at comeback.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love it. But yeah, it's an interesting one. The thing about it is, though, one thing that I worry about, Mihai, is Chelsea and Spurs are the ones to target currently at the moment, and Man City, because they double game week as well in 37. Who out of them would you target? Are you targeting mostly midfielders, or would you target anybody in defense, like a Porro or maybe a Walker? Like Walker got 2 assists there against Brighton, could be a shout as well. Porro, just for his attacking returns alone, could be a good shout. But this season, nobody seems to want to keep clean sheets other than Arsenal. So unless you like, and there's no point in trying to triple up on an Arsenal defense when you have double game weeks coming up. Who would you be targeting out of Spurs, Chelsea, and Man City over the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, for me, I already have triple Spurs. So I mean, one of them is the doggy. So I'd probably sell him for Poro this week. That's going to be the move. I thought it was going to be a bit more complicated because I didn't know if Poro is going to be fit or not, but apparently he is, so he's coming straight in probably. Yeah, it is kind of... I don't think I'm going to target any City defenders, but then that's what I say every time. And then as soon as a double comes in, I'm just like, maybe this guy, this one, maybe at left back, maybe they don't have any other left back. So you think Ake plays twice, and then Ake doesn't play twice, and then you get angry, and then 2 months later you're looking at it and you're saying, I'm ready to get hurt again. So just bring it on. For me, the weird one is Madison. I have him since 28, and he's had so many good fixtures, and now 2 doubles in 3 weeks, that I can't really bring myself to sell him and get rid. But he's been shit. No return, I think, in the last 6 or 7 weeks now.
Yeah.
So I'm just keeping the faith, and I'm hoping. I think it'd be mad to get him out of the squad now, especially as he's a midfielder, so better points in general. I think one defense that I want to target now is going to be Newcastle. I'm thinking Newcastle are playing Sheffield at home this week, and then they have a double in 37 as well. So I'm thinking that could work, but then probably no more than a defender, because I don't really like to double up on defenses. I would have been even higher if I decided to actually double up on Arsenal defense, but I haven't for like 10, 12 weeks now, and it's punished me almost every single one. So yeah, not even on a free hit. Like that was... I said I don't want to double up on Arsenal because I want to get Havertz. So in the end, Ben White and Havertz on a free hit have worked wonders. But then again, if you had... I saw Maddie had like triple Arsenal defense, which was insane because they rack up the points pretty much every single week. But then the only problem I have with tripling up on Arsenal now is that in 37, when I want to bench boost, they're playing United away. So that's not ideal, and I wouldn't want two defenders from Arsenal on the bench for that week. I'm going to jinx it probably, and they're going to keep another clean sheet. But I'm thinking that maybe United are going to get a goal in that match as well. So for me, I'm just probably not going to touch Chelsea. But I'm saying this now. I'll see how I feel tomorrow morning. I think for me, it's going to be City, mainly because I only have Haaland in my team and he's not even fit as of now. Yeah. I just can't see, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, but I cannot see how I'm going to get Foden in this midfield. So I'm having Madison and Son, 2 doubles in 3 weeks. They're not going to go. I have Saka, who I'm not going to sell for Foden.
Why?
I think it could just be a sideways move. If you look at it, he has penalties, so he takes them. Yeah, Foden doesn't, and he also can come off fairly early, especially with rotation now. No, I thought City were still in the Champions League. Sorry, no rotation then. But I just have this weird feeling. It's Saka for me and Haaland are the two that I cannot get rid of because I can't cope with the anxiety. I just feel like if these two are the ones that are going to punish me. So for Saka, I still think I'm going to keep him, and then I'm going to make a decision in 37, because if I'm going to bench boost, maybe I'm keeping him on the bench for that, but still don't know. So I've talked a lot. Madison, Son, and Saka. I have Palmer, who again 2 doubles in 3 weeks. He's not going to go, and I have Gordon, who plays Sheffield now, Burnley later, and then a double in 37. So the only one I could sell is probably going to be Saka, but he has Bournemouth in 36, so then I don't think I want to sell him for that. Yeah, that's kind of those were my thoughts for the last few weeks in terms of midfield. So with Saka, I'm thinking he'll stay in my team until 37, and then I'm going to make a decision probably.
Yeah, here's one for you, Matty, and this may again go against the Liverpudlian in you. Right now, Everton have the best run between now and the end of the season.
Yeah.
Brentford even too. So a move for somebody like Mbeumo or even Decore from Everton would be a really, really good shout, Mihai, if you're looking to move a midfielder. So
Now, see,
Brentford.
my thinking is, firstly, with Saka, the best thing I ever done was get rid of him because he does score sometimes. More often than not, he limps off the pitch with a strop. So, and Phil Foden, when Haaland plays more of the De Bruyne role, so he's getting assists. If Haaland doesn't play, he's a goal scorer. So I think every game, he's someone in Pep Roulette who's safe. And
do you know their total points over the season between the two of them?
For 500.
Saka has 202. Foden has 199. That's how close it is.
Wow, I didn't expect that.
So it is, as Mihai said, it's a bit of a sideways move. So
yeah. See, I've had Foden for so long. I only tripled Arsenal when Areola got injured because I had Areola and Leno the whole season, alternating them who was starting. To be fair, since I put Raya in, I think he's had bonus points every week, to be fair. So I have had a little plan in my head. I don't usually plan ahead, but I've just been looking at the fixtures and I'm debating taking Raya out for Pickford because when I was watching the derby the other day, borderline wanting to kill myself. The commentator said that Everton are in I think there's only David Raya who's made more clean sheets than Jordan Pickford. And that's
right,
blew my mind how they're so far at the bottom, but they're so high up on clean sheets. And that got me thinking about maybe putting Ben White in for El Moreno and then getting rid of Espen Shooting for Braithwaite and then putting Pickford in goal. So I'd be doubling up on Everton defence. When you look at the fixtures, though, the toughest fixture they've got, I'd get rid of the Everton players by last game of the season. But that game could be worthless because City could have already won the league and Everton could need to win to stay up, although they look safe now. But in the games they've got, the toughest one, in my opinion, is Luton away. Because Brentford and Sheffield United at home, I hate to say it, but Everton at home are a force, a proper force. They don't get beat at Goodison Park. And they've got two of their games at home. Luton away is a tough one because Luton might need to win to stay up themselves and send Forest down. I think the only team I'd avoid would be Forest, to be honest. And I'd target Chelsea for game week 37 because having Nottingham Forest away and Brighton away, although they're both away games, I think they're both games where they're going to be a bit more nastier games. So your Forest are going to probably be snapping them, so then you're thinking Cole Palmer penalties easily done. If he stays fit, I think Chelsea have got a nice run in for Palmer. Chelsea's a team you should target anyway because they've got 6 games in the last 4 weeks. So I think that's where you're going to get maximum points. Yeah, I know they've got Villa and Tottenham coming up, but I think Cole Palmer's he can just score. Even if he gets 1 or 2 goals, he's not going to. Not having a Chelsea defender, I wouldn't do that. But having a Chelsea like a Cole Palmer or a Conor Gallagher, even someone who's creating the chances for them, I think that's a shout really. And I think with Arsenal, I'm going to steer away from a triple Arsenal defence after this week. I think they walk Tottenham. But Bournemouth at home is a tough game. Bournemouth are a good side. Then they've got United away, who are going to be trying to get European, probably trying to get Champions League place, which is still possible for them. And then they finish with Everton at home, which again, Everton might need to win to stay up if they do for some reason have a bad run. So Everton's a side that I was looking at targeting really to getting into my side, purely because it blew me mind that there's only David Raya who's got more clean sheets than Pickford, considering they're so far down the table. They're so solid defensively, and it shouldn't shock anyone really because it's a Sean Dyche side. That's how he sets up. But I do think Braithwaite and Pickford is a good shout really to put in at least till the last game week. And I do think Arsenal maybe having a triple defensive Arsenal is also a good shout. And a lot of people throughout the season have said to me, "You're mad! Like you've tripled Arsenal defense. All it takes is a goal and your defense is ruined." But they're so good. I think for me, Arsenal are the best side in the Premier League this year. I think Arsenal deserve to win the league as well. Although it will be City, I think Arsenal deserve to win the league, and they're just steamrolling teams. Like when they won the other day, it was 5-0. Like the goal difference is a joke. They're so good defensively, and I just think they're a real unit. I think that if they don't win the league this year, they probably will next year. I think they're just waiting to win the league, and I do think they will get over the line. And that's just down to the defence, to be fair. I think David Raya is a fantastic signing for them. I think everyone in their defence is capable of getting a goal, is capable of maybe getting an assist, like getting a knock-on from a corner. And to be fair, their defence has probably brought me one of most of my points this season, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't usually put Ben White in because I don't like him, but I might bite the bullet and put him in as much as I can't stand him. I just proper hate him. He just reminds me of that granny off Benidorm.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, the Arsenal defence, Ben White is 167 points all season, Saliba 146 and Gabriel 133. There's nobody else other than Trent, who's missed 2 months, mind you, above 110 points. I lie. Pedro Porro is also there on 110. Schär as well. So there's very few over 100 and 120. There's 4 players over. Brantwick. Give me 1 second. I'll check it here.
He plays every game. He's some player in.
Myelenko, Tarkowski, and Brantwaite are all over 100 each. 101, 101, and 106 respectively.
I think he's for next season. You need to get in when he goes to City or someone. I think Brantwaite.
Pickford is on 100. Is on 131 and is better than Raya. Raya's on 121. About 121 for Raya. Pickford has gotten more points this season than Raya.
Does my head in that because he's so crap. Like, how's he had that many clean sheets? He's proper awful. It does me.
That's what happens when you sit 11 men in front of the box. Though you just don't get shots off, and you get poor quality shots off.
He was unreal against us on Wednesday, Jordan Pickford.
Yeah, but everybody plays unreal against us. It's like fucking playing the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. Everybody else plays great there except for you. Like, it's fucking annoying. And like we've seen it all season. Fucking like Chelsea pumped them. And then all of a sudden they turn around and are like, yeah, it's Liverpool. Fuck, I suppose we'll start playing like professional footballers now, like fucking wankers.
I think it should. I don't know how it doesn't do Everton fans' heads in, because if they played how they played against Liverpool on Wednesday,
they'd be fighting for European spots.
Easy. A good side.
How many points have they had deducted so far this season?
6, I think.
6. And what are they on currently at the moment? What's the table?
They're safe. I think they look safe now, but haven't they said that the appeal is not getting announced until the day before the last day of the season? So they could potentially just knock them right down to relegate them. Which
they're on 33. If they got another 6, they'd be up on 39. So they would have been up in 14th with Palace. But I think if they hadn't have gotten that first knock, like they got what? They got 10 taken off them initially and then just 6. Yeah. They got 4 reinstated.
Yeah.
They could have very easily been very much higher up the league.
I think this appeal might take more off them, you know. And then they've got the risk now of 777 pulling out to
administration. Yeah.
So they're probably going to go into administration. So they might even start on a minus or go down this year. But to be honest, I think it'll be the best thing that's ever happened to Everton going down. That's not even being bitter. They've got players there on like 160 grand a week who are garbage. So I think that'd be the best thing that happens to Everton. Which,
along with the parachute payments as well that they'll get while they're down there, it'll help.
And they're just a team. I do feel sorry sometimes for Everton. I've got a lot of friends who are dirty blue noses, and I just feel dead sorry that their whole life I seen something the other day, Joe, and Everton fans never sent a text saying that they've won a trophy. Because texting
I love that. I absolutely love that. It's beautiful. I do find it funny though, because when you're looking at it for the like, it's interesting to see how many people's bias comes out when it comes to FPL. Like, I have flat out refused to go near any Everton player, and it's cost me clearly. And it's just it's very interesting because your personal biases come in. It was quite funny because when I had Salah and Darwin in the team, nothing. Second I take them out of the team, Darwin goes on a 6-week tear, scoring a goal a game, the prick. And then I'm like, oh, I'll put you back in again. Blanks consistently. And I'm like, fucking wanker.
I have that mentality, though. The only City player I used to put in was Haaland, probably because of Pep roulette as well. It's impossible to guess.
Like with Pep's rotation, realistically, you need to pick the most nailed-on people. Foden's been that. Haaland has been that. But even so, he's been in and out so far this season with injuries and everything. So realistically, Foden and Rodri will be the only ones that probably will be in there the whole time. Normally, you could have banked on Walker to be playing every game, but he comes out of it. And then you have the likes of people like Rico Lewis coming in. You have Bernardo Silva taking games off. And like, what's funny about it as well is like Pep knows this is happening to FPL managers, and he knows that we're all ticking him for it, and he still does it, and he just laughs at us because he's a shithouse.
I've not put any Everton or United in all year. I'll never, ever, 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 ever put a Manchester United player in my FPL. Ever.
No, neither will I. Everybody was saying put Bruno Fernandes in at the start of the season, and I'm not going to lie. If I look at his numbers for the whole season so far, give me 1 second. I'm going to look at here. Where
I just couldn't bring myself to pick them because I think everyone at United garbage. They're all championship quality.
No, it's annoying. Andre Onana has 115 points as a keeper.
How?
Yeah, that's all of his save points because he just makes them look so fucking dramatic. And then if you go defenders, Dalot is 91. He's the best one. Maguire is 71 because he scores a goal every now and then. And then if we go midfielders, Bruno is on 157. Rashford's on 106. And Garnacho is on 120 so far this season. And then we'll go to forwards.
I just couldn't. I couldn't do
it. Hoyland's on 93. But I see the thing about it is they're so hot and cold, you can't rely on them. You'd need to have them in there the whole season. That's the issue. And the only one that you could possibly do is maybe Bruno because he's on penalties. And that's the only one you could maybe stomach. But even at that, I couldn't stand to be happy for that rat-faced little prick scoring. I just couldn't.
If I could, I'd have 11 Liverpool players in my team. Genuinely.
So would I.
I'm so bitter and twisted. It's ridiculous. But I couldn't put a United player in. Everton will kill me. I probably won't even put them in because I just keep thinking that my dad can see it and he'll disown me. He can't. I just couldn't put any Everton or United players in.
Yeah. No.
City.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's just I don't disagree with you, but then like you got to kind of look at it from an unbiased. See, do you know what I think? People that play this that aren't supporters of top teams benefit better because they don't have any bias against any of the other top teams. Whereas we'd be like, nah, fuck Everton, fuck United. I'm not going near them. I don't want them to succeed. I'd rather sit and hate watch them to make sure that they don't score or keep a clean sheet. That's specifically it, like that kind of a way. One thing that I do want to get onto though is who would be captain for this week upcoming, because there's a couple of options. As it stands at the moment on predicted points, Palmer's on 9.7. Son is on 9.7. You have somebody like Solanke who's on 5 predicted points. You have somebody like Darwin who's on 5 predicted points. Hilariously, Arsenal defence could have been somebody that you could have captained throughout the season and you would have gotten a gaggle of points. Gabriel's on a predicted 4. Saliba's on 3.5. A sneaker pick that could be very well done because clearly Fulham leak goals is Crystal Palace are paying Fulham. And I made the move last week to triple up on Crystal Palace, and it worked out fantastically for me. With about 60 points coming from them alone, they basically got the points for half my team. I wish I captained Mateta, but I didn't, unfortunately. But
you know what's frustrating? I swear to God, the whole week I had the armband on Mateta. And I looked at it and I just thought that's way too much. I don't have the balls to do that. I'm just going to play it safe. I'm going to put it on Mo Salah. And I could not believe what happened.
Yeah. Did you see some crazy bastard triple captained them?
Yeah.
907 or something like that. 907 people triple captain them. Of 10 point something million, 907 people triple captain them, and look at it work out. See, I reckon some people are either hacking or they're just piss fucking lucky, or they're just taking the piss, like with them saying, I've nothing to play for, I'll captain this fella, like that kind of a way, that they just do it for fun. Because your man that got the highest points last week, which is absolutely bonkers, highest points was 219. He had 15 transfers. I'm going to show you it. I'm going to share the screen because this is absolutely nuts.
In 1 week, 15.
In 1 week, 15
and
transfers.
Still got 219.
Yeah, I'm going to show it to you here now.
Wow.
Hold on, we'll get rid of the brand. This is a squad. That's his squad. Pickford, Gomez, Young, Tarkowski, Salah, Bruno, Havertz, Eze, Watkins, Solanke, and Mateta. And then he also bench boost. So he had Raya, White, Mitchell, and Foden on the bench boost. 219 points, 15 transfers.
Okay, but you know what this is? This is the type of a move that this is only we're only saying it was a great move because it worked out, in the end. But when you look
I'm not
at
saying
it,
it was a great move. I'm calling it
three,
terrible. You
yeah,
transferred your whole fucking team, like.
Is that right
and
there?
there
He's
were
only got 457 points total.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So he only started probably playing it about 3 weeks ago.
Yep, pretty much. So nearly half of his points came from this week.
the thing is, I've seen this online, and I'm still backing my move not to get any Everton players. Think of it this way. Yeah, and listen to me now. 3 penalties Forest could have had against them. All of them denied. All of them stone cold. I don't know if you agree, but I'm thinking all of them were penalties. Yeah.
Oh, they were.
And
The
then
only one
against
you could maybe question was the first one, and that's a maybe. But the other two were stonewalled straight away.
And then also the match against us, we've hit the post. We've missed all of those huge chances that we've missed.
Oh, fucking remind
It's
me.
just like on another day, these things don't happen. Like the refereeing is on point, and they actually give at least one of those, and their defense doesn't get the points that they get. So I'm thinking it still was a good move not to get any Everton players. I'm just thinking this was a fluke, and I'm thinking it won't happen again.
See, with Everton,
I'm hoping.
I'd argue. I can't believe it. I think Goodison Park's probably one of the most aggressive stadiums in the league, if not the most aggressive.
I'd have it up there with the likes of St. James's and what's Luton's ground called?
Kenilworth Road.
Kenilworth Road. Kenilworth Road is a fucking cauldron to go to. That is, like, you called it at the start of the season that was going to be a tragic place to go to and try and win a game, and it's been proven right. And realistically, that's probably what may keep Luton up, is playing there. I'd be sad to see Luton go down. Genuinely, I would.
Yeah.
I'd like them to stay up myself. But
Forest.
yeah, there's Forest too. But then I'm thinking, who goes down then? If
I
that's
want
the case?
Forest to go down. I can't bloody stand Nottingham Forest. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I've just been brought up to hate them. The only reason
Interestingly enough about Forest, they signed Ibrahim Sangare, and we were so interested in him, and he's absolutely shat the bed all season. I haven't seen anything about him, and we were like, "Oh, that's probably a great move." And then
I think they've just got too many players, haven't they, Forest? I think they got too many players.
Yeah,
tries to do too much, and it'll bite them on the ass. If they stay up, I think they'll do well under Nuno, though. I think you'll see Forest go to European places next year. Rarely do, but it's just if they stay up.
Yeah, and that's they're under appeal as well at the moment for their points thing, so we don't know about them yet. So it could add that bottom 5 complete swings and roundabouts. If Luton win a couple of games, so it's Everton on 33, Forest on 26, Luton on 25, Burnley on 23, and Sheffield on 16. Sheffield are gone. There's no hope of them. But
if they lose this week, is that confirmed?
Mathematically, I don't think they can. So if Burnley and Luton win and Sheffield lose, that's them guaranteed relegation, because mathematically there's only 3 games left at that point for them.
Yeah.
So they'd only be able to get 9 points. And as it stands at the moment, if they lose and Burnley lose, even if they lose, I think it's confirmed, because it'd be delayed by a week, because they're 9 points behind Burnley at the moment with 4 games to go. They lose and Burnley lose, they still have a chance. Well, no. Yeah, it's pretty much, if they lose, it's pretty much confirmed, because even if Forest lose, they're on 26. Sheffield have 3 games left after this week, meaning that they could only get 9 points and hit 25 maximum, which is what Luton are on at the moment. So if Sheffield lose against this week, they're gone. They're done. They're on the way down.
Minus 59 goal difference as well.
That's madness.
They should have Wilder in from the start of the year.
Yeah, it's bonkers that.
I want Luton or Burnley to stay up, purely because the Premier League is. Mark Goldbridge done something yesterday, and it was so accurate. The Premier League's so boring.
It
if
is
them
boring.
three go down, they've come up, and then the same teams that are going to come up,
With the same teams that went down last year.
Yeah, like Leeds will probably come up. But then saying that Ipswich have got 2 games, and I wouldn't mind Ipswich coming up, to be fair, because they've got a good story. He was in League One the other year. But if it goes to the playoffs, you'd assume that Leicester are probably going to win the league. Then you'd assume it's probably going to be Leeds or Ipswich. If Ipswich goes to the playoffs, you'd probably assume Southampton have got more experience in the side to get down to that. So the same 3 teams are going to come back up.
Yeah, it's what Leicester, Leicester have kind of bottled it as well, which is hilarious, but they have a game in hand on Leeds.
Leeds have been so hit and miss, which is mad, really. I think it's the draws that'll cost Leeds.
Well, they're losing at the moment. QPR are beating them.
That's where Leeds are so hit and miss. I follow Leeds, their family, and they're so hit and miss, and they're so frustrating. I'd hate to be a Leeds fan because that side they've got, if they don't get up, they'll be stuck there for a while. I think because they've got players like Archie Gray. I know we've been linked with him. He's definitely going to get a Premier League move if they stay in the Championship.
Somerville as well, because considering Slot is really interested in him.
Yeah, Notto's very, very good as well. They got Joe Geldart as well. He's another one coming up who's fantastic. And even like players like Junior Firpo, he's a Premier League standard player. Ethan Ampadu, he's a Premier League standard player. So they're probably going to get rinsed. Meslier, he'll probably go to a side that comes up because he's a decent keeper. He's a good shot stopper. I just feel sorry for Leeds, to be honest. I'd love them to come up. I really would.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, really. Like Leicester are going to come back up. I'd like to see Ipswich come back up purely because it'll be a new team.
Good story.
Yeah, that too. And as for who goes down, to be honest, purely because it's Vincent Kompany, Burnley can get in the bin. I like Luton, and to be honest, between Forest and Everton, it's kind of a coin flip realistically out of them. I think Luton are a nice scrappy team. They have a nice manager. I don't know if he'll be there next season, but they have decent players on that team as well. Ross Barkley has been fantastic for them, and I fucking hate saying that, but he has been really, really good for them.
I go for Ross Barkley. You know, I know he's played for Everton and Chelsea, but he is such a good footballer. He is so good. He's just not got the attitude. But I feel like him going to Luton has allowed him to just strip back from all the limelight and just play his football. And he's had a fantastic season at them, to be fair. And he'll get another Prem move. I think he might even end up back at Everton, to be fair, if Everton stay up.
Yeah.
But I do like him as a footballer, Ross Barkley, and it pains me to say because he's played for Everton and Chelsea. But I just like seeing Scouse lads do well, to be fair.
Yeah, no, it is. It's one of them. But we will ask the question now. Captaincy move for next week. Mihai, who are you going with your captain now for this weekend coming? This game week coming, should I say, is probably the better phrase.
Yeah, I'm still undecided, of course, as pretty much every other manager, I'm guessing. At the moment, it's on Palmer. I just don't know. I think Son, is Richarlison fit?
Yeah.
He is available, yeah.
So the thing is, if Son plays central, then it is a lot better for him. If he plays off the left, it's not as good, but then it's not bad either. I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking it's... I'm finding arguments on both ways, because then, okay, you're thinking Palmer probably has the better fixtures, yeah? But then also Chelsea are shit. Spurs don't really have the fixtures, but then they play Arsenal at home, and Arsenal are in a title charge, and then they're going to probably turn up, because I don't think you can afford it. Like, to your fans, you can, fuck up Arsenal's chances of of pushing for the league. You're going to have to turn up, and you're playing at home as well. The stadium's going to be rocking, I'm assuming. I mean, it's the one fixture you're going to have to. And then, both Chelsea and Spurs are not great defenses at all. So I'm thinking it's going to be a high-scoring game. And I'm thinking if Chelsea score, I can't really find a lot of other players to be involved if it's not Palmer. If Spurs do, I think there are other players to get. Like Brendan Johnson has been great in these past few weeks. Richarlison can get into good positions. Maddison hopefully returns as well. I'm leaning towards Palmer at the moment, but I'm not completely sure.
Yeah, there's 5 Spurs midfielders that have over 100 points so far this season. 2 of them have 110 or more. So you have Johnson, Kulusevski, Richarlison, Madison, and Son. Son is away and ahead of all of them on 186. Madison has 101, Richarlison 110, Kulusevski is 106, and Johnson is 110. After that, there's a massive drop off. You have Højbjerg, you have Bentancur, you have Bissouma as well. So realistically, as you said, they spread the wealth an awful lot when it comes to Spurs. But then you take a look at Chelsea, and it's Cole Palmer on 208, and then the next closest one is Sterling on 108. So it's very much a one-man show when it comes to Chelsea so far this season. Matty, are you in a similar brain thought of Mihai as it is at the moment, or how do you see your captaincy going for this week? Because I know you've to make a couple of changes with injuries and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. My only logic, so with Chelsea, I feel like it's between Son and Palmer for me as well. But I feel like with Chelsea, they've got the easier fixtures than Tottenham. But then Tottenham, if they win both of their games in hand by more, if they're only 5 goals behind Villa and they've got 2 games in hand and they're 6 points behind. So if they were to win both their games in hand, which I think is against Chelsea and Burnley, by more than 5 goals, they're in 4th. And I feel like they've got that in them to get 4th, to be fair to them. But the thing that's throwing me off with Tottenham is that I feel like the thing that's throwing me off is that with Son, I feel like the double game weeks are the only time you could really captain him, because game in the middle of that to Liverpool away, and that's Jurgen Klopp's second to. Now I know we've been crap, but that's Klopp's second to last game at Anfield. That's going to be pumping. It's going to be absolutely pumping Anfield, and it's our first home game back since getting beaten the derby and going out of Europe and all that palaver. It's our first home game back. So you'd assume, if SOS allow it, by the way, that we'll have our flags out and it'll be pumping. So that's my logic. I feel like Spurs are more likely to beat. I think they can beat Chelsea away because Chelsea are so hit and miss. And I think they can beat Arsenal as well. And then that's throwing me off now because I've got triple Arsenal defence. But I feel like it's such an Arsenal thing to do, to throw it at a North London
against
derby.
Spurs.
Yeah, and it's at Spurs' ground as well, which they're a lot better at home than they are away from home. And it's just such an Arsenal thing to do, to go and bottle it. I mean, I know they've bottled it anyway, like us in City's league probably. But if Arsenal win Tottenham this week, I think Arsenal could still win the league. So I think that's where the game's interesting, because City have got to play Tottenham away when Tottenham could need to win that game to guarantee 4th. And then City have got to play West Ham, who again might need to win to guarantee European spaces at the end of the season. And then there's Wolves there as well, who also could get Conference League. So I think City, although the games look easier, have got a harder run-in than Arsenal. But I do think Arsenal can be Arsenal and just get beat by Spurs this week. So that I just don't know for this week. I think going forward, I'm going to captain Palmer because they've got West Ham, Forest, Brighton, Bournemouth, and I think Palmer will bag in all of them games. It's just this week so thrown, because if Chelsea beat Villa and Tottenham beat Arsenal, then you could probably say Tottenham are probably going to get top 4. And I think this first fixture this weekend will be pivotal for the top 4 race, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like absolutely massive for the top 4 race. Liverpool's game again is massive. And I just think this week's the toughest week to pick a captain out of a lot of them. But I know there's the double game weeks, but I've been looking at captaining Darwin as well. Which is a mad shout. There's just been with Darwin, he strikes me as someone who, if you remember when he had them 6 weeks of being unreal, he'd been slagged off for the whole few weeks before it. This week has been everyone against Darwin, it seems. I'm still on the fence in terms of should he be starting as a 9. I think we should keep him, shouldn't sell him, should be a left winger, whatever. But I feel like if there's any game where Darwin Núñez is going to come out and be like, fuck you to everyone, I feel like it could be this weekend. And don't forget, a lot of the players, apart from your McAllister, Trent, Alisson, Van Dijk, Elliott, I feel like everyone in that side is fighting to play for Liverpool next year. And no one more so than Darwin. And I just feel like it could be a little bit of a masterstroke to captain him this week. Although West Ham away is a tough fixture, Liverpool have to bounce back this weekend. They have to. And out of any one of our attackers, the one player you drop first, madly enough, is Mo Salah.
Oh, easily.
So I feel like for that reason, I've been a little bit tempted into Darwin captain, just because I feel like last time he got this much hate, he went out and went on a mad one and scored 6 weeks on the bounce. And the way the West Ham play quite a high line, that's Darwin's playground. So I feel like balls over the top. Liverpool have to go out and make a statement this weekend. We're not going to win the league, but they have to go out and pretty much make a statement to apologise to the fans, apologise to Klopp, and go from it. And I think because there's been that much hate on Darwin and there's that much talk on social media, oh, he wasn't a board sign and it was a Klopp sign, and pretty much saying he's gone in the summer, which I don't think he is. I think he's going to come out fighting. I really do. And if I don't captain Palmer, don't be surprised if tomorrow at 12 o'clock you see Darwin as my captain, because that is in the back of my mind. That I think historically for Liverpool, when he's had his best run is when he's had a really bad run before it and been given so much hate, he's then come out and being like, fuck you. So I feel like this week is the time for him to do that, because he has been poor. The last few weeks he's been really poor. And a lot of people have patience with him. But I don't think Darwin will start on as a 9. I think he'll be a left winger this week. And I feel like he'll go with what he wanted against Everton with Darwin, Gakpo and Salah. But I'd like to see Diaz maybe play on the right, to be fair.
Diaz on the right. See, what's funny about it is our front line, when Salah was missing, was way better. And this is where I don't understand where the hate is coming from, especially with Darwin, because look, I understand he's missed chances and whatnot and all that. And I understand that he's missed some sitters, but Salah's missed utterly egregious ones. The chance he had to score the second against Atalanta is unforgivable. What I hate this is used as one. I've said that the miss against Luton is unforgivable. I'm now turning on that. It's not unforgivable. Salah had a free header inside the 6-yard box and played it back across the goal, and Darwin was coming in on it. Why couldn't Salah have headed that into the goal?
I mean, with Salah, there's been a few times this year. I've seen something the other day. He's played some unreal passes to Darwin, and Darwin's bluffed it. And I think that's where a lot of Darwin hate's coming from, and not Salah hate. I don't think you should hate any player who plays for Liverpool. I think you should always back them. But I'm bitter and twisted. But with Salah, something's changed, and I feel it though it's because he's never injured, and he's had this injury that's ruled him out for a good few weeks this season. And I think he's scared of getting injured. I think he knows in his head he's going to Saudi this summer, because there's absolutely no way Michael Edwards gives 32-year-old Mo Salah another big deal. And there's absolutely no way that Liverpool Football Club let Mo Salah leave for nothing next year. So I think he's going to go this summer, and I think he knows that. And it's like he's playing like he doesn't want to get injured. And something's changed. Jurgen Klopp has never, ever substituted Mo Salah on 60 minutes. And it's happened so often the last few weeks. He's risked not starting him in the first leg against Atalanta. He didn't start Salah. So something's changed for me. And I do think when he was at AFCON, we performed better as an attacking unit. Mo Salah, for me, will probably go down as one of the greatest players to ever play in my lifetime. I love him. But he's always been frustrating to watch. Like, opposition fans, I feel like, appreciate Salah more than Liverpool fans because he is so frustrating. Yeah, he's got fantastic numbers, but it takes like 20, 30 shots a game to get that one goal. And
which is like, what people make Darwin out to be as well. Like, and I'm kind of like,
the thing with Darwin is that he's still young and he's still got his pace. So as long as he's got that pace, is all he needs to do. And there's this whole talk that we'll sell him because he's a Klopp signing. I think statistically, Darwin Núñez is the perfect Michael Edwards player, because Michael Edwards has never went and bought out-and-out finishers. Sadio Mane was an out-and-out finisher when we got him. Neither was Mo Salah. Neither was Bobby Firmino. He buys players based on the data of for shots attempted. And Darwin is definitely topping them stats for across the world for shots attempted. All he needs is to polish him that finishing off. But I don't think Darwin Núñez is a striker. I think he's a winger and he's a lot more effective on the wing. But I think he's someone who will stay next year.
Yeah, you can see it on his heat map, because if you look at his heat map with Benfica, he was part of a lone striker or a strike pairing where he played and cut in off the left or the right. He never was specifically central. He was always left or right. And then all of a sudden you see him play at left wing or right wing, or the 2 goals against Newcastle came when he was off the right and he absolutely blasted them past the keeper. That were fantastic finishes. So clearly he has the finishing in his bag. It's just, see, I am one of Darwin's biggest fans. If Darwin has no fans left, it's because I am no longer on this planet. Pretty simple. And I will fight any man that says we should sell Darwin Núñez, because when people say, oh, well, we don't have anybody to toe the line next season, when Salah was gone, he was scoring a goal a game. Yeah. It's that simple. He in a 7-game span, he had 6 goals and 2 assists. Like, what more do you want? And people saying, like Charlie, who's not with us today, he's traveling tomorrow morning early, so he couldn't join us this evening. Not with us today. It sounded like the poor fucker's dead. Touch wood, he's not dead. But they say he's duly departed us. But he says that he wants a striker to score 40 goals a season, and I get that. And if you want that, go buy Erling Haaland. But if you go buy Erling Haaland. Yeah, but if you go by Erling Haaland, you're not going to get everything else, and he becomes an absolute. And like Erling Haaland, if you look at their shot maps, Darwin Núñez's shot map is much more broad, and Erling Haaland's is much more compact into the 6-yard box, and that speaks volumes of the players that they are. Darwin Núñez creates for himself, he creates for others, and I said it last night, and everybody was asleep when I said it, and I dropped a fucking great line, and nobody was around to hear it other than the Americans, and it was really annoying because it was only like 4 people that heard it. I've always held true to a striker that makes those around him better works fantastically in a total football sense. Total football is where you play through somebody and not to somebody. And Arne Slot is somebody that works very similar to Johan Cruyff, who brought in total football. That's what Pep uses. Haaland is not the striker Pep loves. Hilariously, Alvarez is more of the striker that Pep loves. Somebody that's a mix between a central forward, a striker, and an attacking midfielder that you can play through and filter the ball through. Núñez is that, but he's been played as a 9, and that's not exactly what he is. Magic Johnson said, scoring makes one person happy, assisting makes 2 people happy. If I have the choice between a striker that scores 40 goals a season or a striker that gets 20 goals and 20 assists a season, I'm taking the striker that gets 20 goals and 20 assists a season.
Darwin Núñez is one player I think will thrive under Slot. Just because if at the minute when we're playing him as a 9, we're still sort of stuck in this false 9. He should be pressing, winning the ball back in midfield, and then distributing this to the flanks when going forward. We're still sort of stuck in this system. I think if we had Sadio Mane, people would have a different opinion on Darwin Núñez, though, to be fair. I think them two would have worked really well together.
Yeah.
But when you look at the way Slot sets up, and he's going to have, in the attacking sense, 3 and a 1. So he's going to have a 10, a left and a right, and a striker. I think Núñez will thrive in that aspect, because if he plays as the striker, he's got a 10 behind him, who can then be the creative one, and he's just literally running onto the ball. If he plays on the wing, he's then got a 10 and a 9 to the right of him, or to the left of him, in which he can then assist. Yeah. So I think he's someone who's massively going to thrive under Slot, and I think all this talk on who's a Klopp signing and stuff, the replacement who he wanted instead of him was Nkunku, who's played about 4 minutes this year, and he hasn't been very good in them 4 minutes either. So I think a lot of people will be thanking Klopp in a few years for Darwin. I don't think we should sell him, and I think a lot of fans have got it, and the knickers in a twist because of the price he paid. I don't know why anyone's asked, because it's not our money. We could go and spend £100 million on him, and I wouldn't care. It's just football these days. I think if you go back 5-10 years, Darwin Núñez is like a £20-30 million player. Benfica capitalised on the fact Liverpool need a striker. He's had a good year. We want this much, and Liverpool haven't had a sporting director have went, okay, sound, we'll pay it. And I think that's just all it came from. And I think he's just fell victim of coming in on the same year Haaland came in. He's coming for big money like Haaland, and people are he's got a ponytail like Haaland, and everyone's like, oh, he should be scoring like Haaland, when they're 2 totally different players. And I think Darwin Núñez, the amount of he chases him and Diaz, for me, their off the ball work rate is absolutely incredible. And I hate to say stuff like this because I'm not that type of person, but you can tell who doesn't go to watch Liverpool live. because they're the ones who hate Nunes the most.
You know what? The comparison with Holland, the one thing that I wanted to say is that that's pissed me off from the get-go, because it just doesn't take anything else outside of the fact that they both signed at the same time. Now you look at the players, yeah. One of them is a son of an ex-footballer who played in the Premier League, who's been involved in the Prem, who's spoken English since he was a kid, who's seen his father play the game. He's grew up in a fairly, let's say, privileged environment. Yeah, he didn't really have anything that he didn't want growing up.
He never wanted France, and you're exactly right, Miha. Yeah.
And then you think of Darwin. He was living like 60 kilometers from Montevideo, something like that. You know how things are in South America, where some areas are just poor and it's just the way it is. And then football is a get out of jail card for like a lot of these youngsters. And Darwin was when he arrived in Liverpool, he didn't speak English. But then again, you look at it, that's not the lad's fault, because he didn't grow up in a country where he was just had access to great education, and maybe in a family where he had access to that. You just take the backgrounds into account. Darwin had an entirely different life from what Holland did. And that's what I think people don't really get, and that's why I think it makes a lot of sense for Darwin to have 1 or 2 seasons to get accustomed to England, because different language, you have to learn it, different environments, different techniques, stuff like you didn't have access to when you were a kid. Yeah, and he's just been involved in European football for like a few seasons now, and it's just so different. Like Holland played how many matches in the Champions League before coming to City, and how many did Darwin play? He had like a season and maybe a half, something like that.
Oh, easily. Yeah, 100%. And this is how you can tell who's the better player. Because as it stands at the moment, although Haaland has missed some time, you can only play the teams that are in front of you. And people love to tout who's the big game player. Haaland has scored against the top 5 or 6 teams once this season, and that was against us at the Etihad. That's the only time he scored against Arsenal, Liverpool, Aston Villa, and Spurs. It's the only time he scored. In the Champions League, he only scored against young boys, one against Leipzig, and then one against Copenhagen. Didn't score against anybody other than that. And he ghosts big games. He clearly does. And then if you look at who Nunes has scored against, and people are saying, when has he stepped up in the big moments? Down to 10 men against Newcastle, scores the equaliser and the winner. Comes on against Nottingham Forest and scores the winner there in near death stoppage time. The Fulham game, he's instrumental in both the equalising goal and the winning goal. If not for him winning the aerial duel, heading the ball to Salah to allow him to lay it back to Endo, we don't get the equaliser. If not for him fighting like it's his last breath to get to a rebounded shot to play it back across the goal that Harvey Elliott lays back to Trent for the winner, we don't win that game. There's plenty of instances that Darwin Nunes has come and actually performed massively. And it is one of them. It's bonkers. I don't understand why people want to get rid of him. It's an easy target. He's an easy stick to beat. And it's just that. But I'll get back onto actually the topic of it and who my captain is going to be for the week, because we've gone off on a bit of a rant on the Darwin Nunes there. It's going to be Palmer. Very simply, he has a 60. Looking at the numbers of everybody who's reporting it, he's a 60% chance of scoring. He's on penalties. There's a 23% chance of him scoring 2 against Villa, and there's a 36% chance of scoring 2 against Spurs, especially with their high line. Villa seem to be a little bit susceptible to goals currently at the moment, and if you're going to captain somebody on a double game week, he seems to be the perfect option, especially with Richarlison possibly coming back and Son playing off the left rather than centrally, as Mihai mentioned as well. But that's where we're going to leave it today. Thank you, everybody, whoever joined us and everything like that. It was very much appreciated. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to like and subscribe and have your notifications on for all future videos. If you enjoyed this kind of content, it's a little bit new for what we're doing, leave a comment down below and let us know. If you didn't enjoy it, let us know. We love feedback either way, and let us know what you think about it. But yeah, hopefully best of luck with everybody for FPL for the weekend. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will see you guys later. Bye-bye.